I know if you're the loved one of a chronically ill individual, you might not always know what to say to comfort that person regarding their chronic illness. And I know your intentions are probably good, but here are a few things that you might be saying that aren't as helpful as you might think. Fancy meeting you here. My name is Brittany, and this channel documents my life as a mom with multiple chronic illnesses, both mental and physical. I love that you stopped by my video, and I hope that you find anything I say here helpful, informative, or entertaining for you or somebody that you know. Let's get down to beeswax. These are in no particular order, so let's just get started. Number 1, unsolicited medical advice of any kind. I know that you mean well. I know that if it's the first you're hearing about this person's chronic illness, you might think that you're helpful by saying, oh, I know somebody else who has the same symptom or the same diagnosis as you, and they tried this and it helped. Why don't you try that? But the chronically ill person you're talking to probably has already heard that and probably has already tried it, or already knows that that's not good for their personal situation. Just because two people you know have the same symptoms and or the same diagnosis does not mean that the same treatment is going to help, or that the same solution really would be beneficial to both of them. In fact, one could really benefit from that tip, but to the other it could actually be quite detrimental. It's also a little discouraging when everyone's immediate thought is, let me fix this for you because you are clearly so very broken. Maybe we've come to terms with it, or maybe we just want to take a break from trying to fix our bodies. Just don't always have unsolicited medical advice be your first thing that you say to somebody. Number 2, when you try to relate to that person, if I, as the chronically ill person, say, one of my biggest symptoms is fatigue, and then you say, oh yeah, I didn't get much sleep last night, so I am so tired. I drank like 3 cups of coffee this morning and I'm still barely making it. That is so far from the same thing. For me, it's almost every day of my life. I can sleep 12 hours that night and wake up still barely able to function. And fatigue is not just tiredness, it also has to do with like your muscles. Like you feel weak, you feel like the whole world around you instead of air is just molasses. Like you can barely move, and it's just difficult to function. It's not the same as just having a rough night's sleep one time and needing an extra cup of coffee. Not the same. I do understand sometimes when people are like, oh yeah, I felt this symptom one time, so I can only imagine how hard it must be for you right now. That is more validating, and it makes me feel seen. It makes me feel like you realize how hard it is for me, and that you're not just trying to downplay it and say, well, I got through it that one time, so suck it up, quit whining, you know? Very different. Number 3, this one drives me bonkers. You can really tell who has never had a chronic illness in their lives when they say something like, oh, just go to the doctor. They'll help you out. And I'm like, well, obviously. Why would I not have been to the doctor already? You know? Or if they're saying, oh, well, you just need to make an appointment with this type of specialist. In my situation, when I have been dealing with this for almost 9 years, and then someone's like, oh yeah, you got to see a rheumatologist. Obviously, why haven't you done that yet? And I'm like, do you know how many rheumatologists I've already seen who can't help me? Or when I say I've been dealing with these symptoms, and then you say, oh, well, just make an appointment with a doctor, and then they'll fix everything, you know? Doctors, they know what they're doing, and they're gonna fix everything. Problem solved, you'll be cured. I'm like, no, doctors don't know everything. Actually, when you live with a chronic condition, you realize how little doctors do know. They go to school for so long, and they still don't know as much as you might think. Not to say that they're not intelligent, but they don't know everything. You can't just go in one appointment and they're like, boom, meds, all fixed by the end of the month, you know? It's not like that. There's a lot of trial and error. You have to go in the first time just for the initial evaluation. And then they figure out, well, maybe this is what it is. Maybe this is what it is. Let's try this treatment. And then you have a follow-up in a few weeks, a few months, and you're like, no, that actually didn't help. And they're like, okay, so maybe that's not what the condition is at all. Let's try this other treatment. And maybe it's this condition. It's not just a one time in and out of the doctor and you're cured, you know? So you can really tell who has never had a chronic illness by how much faith in doctors they have. Number 4, trying to convince me to stay positive because it could be worse. I do realize that. I realize that it could be worse. I also realize that it could be a lot better. If you want to tell me that I'm not allowed to be sad because somebody else has a worse situation going on, then I could tell you you're not allowed to be happy because somebody else has a better situation than you. So stop it. You know, it shouldn't matter what other people are going through if I'm living this life. You know what I mean? I only know what this life feels like, and I'm allowed to feel however the heck I want about it. Stop telling me that I can't feel this way because somebody else is allowed to feel that way. Just because somebody else's broken ankle hurts doesn't mean that my ankle isn't sprained. You know what I mean? Chronic illness sucks, and I'm allowed to be sad about it. I'm not always upset about it. Sometimes there are a few positive things that happen. Sometimes I can just accept it, and I'm like, yeah, well, this is what life is like. Let's just get through it. But sometimes I do need to be sad. I need to be angry. I need to cry. And that's allowed. Stop telling me not to do it. Number 5 is kind of the opposite of number 4. If I make a joke about my chronic condition, don't tell me that it's not funny. You don't have to think it's funny. I don't care if you laugh. If it's gonna help me feel a little bit better about the situation, why am I not allowed to joke about my own condition? Like I just mentioned in my last point, chronic illness sucks, okay? It's really easy to get overwhelmed and frustrated and just sad about it. So sometimes if I'm in the mood where I can make it a little bit more lighthearted, where I can make a joke and kind of poke fun at myself about it, let me do that. Don't tell me that it's not funny. I mean, you don't have to think it's funny. That's fine. We don't have the same sense of humor. That's understandable. You don't have to laugh. You don't have to think it's funny. But don't tell me that I'm not allowed to laugh. It's my body and my condition. I'm allowed to joke about it. And number 6. This is probably my very most frustrating one that everybody in my life, except for one single person, has been telling me, like since the beginning of this. Please don't tell people to just go to the doctor and don't worry about the money. Going to the doctor requires a lot of money, and you don't know how much money I have. It might cost more money than I have to go to the doctor. And if you're not going to let me worry about the money, who's going to worry about the money? Are you going to pay that bill? Because somebody has to pay that bill. And if I'm not in the position to afford all of these bills that you think I need to take on, that's just stressful. And a lot of people tell me, well, they offer payment plans, and a lot of them are no interest, and you can pay them off over however many years, and they'll work with you for however much you can afford. I am well aware of that. I have several payment plans going on right now to the point that I can take on no more payment plans. Plus, you don't even know what kind of insurance this person has, if they have insurance, right? So when I understand my financial situation and my medical situation, it's up to me to decide, does my financial situation fit my medical needs? Are my medical needs important enough that I will be able to make the financial aspect of it work? Or am I okay to kind of wait a little bit until I have the finances to make these appointments? When you're chronically ill, you don't just go to your primary, real quick, 15-minute visit, and you're done. Like I mentioned previously, you go to the primary, and then they refer you to probably several different specialists. not just the one. And specialists cost more than a primary. And then the specialists want to run several different tests, possibly like actual procedures that they'll put you under with anesthesia. For example, I just had an endoscopy done a few weeks ago. Let me tell you, I haven't gotten the bill yet, but let me tell you, probably all the crap that's going to be on that bill. First of all, just, existing in there, breathing that air, that's going to cost money. And then the procedure itself. And then I was in there for constant nausea and vomiting. So while I was in there, they're like, how are you doing? I was like, breathing nauseous right now. And they're like, oh, we need to do an IV. And also, lots of vomiting, I was very dehydrated. So they're like, we need to do some IV so that you don't, pass out right now, which is weird because they're about to go in there anyways. Like, I don't know. So they gave me, what was I on? We'll say 3. So they gave me an IV for just general fluids. And then the anesthesia. And then probably all that like weird paper sheet stuff that you use that you sit on. They gotta pay for that somehow. And there was like this big plastic bag to hold like my clothes and my shoes and stuff so I could get dressed in this little gown. And the equipment to perform the procedure. And then when I woke up, I had to puke, so they gave me a little bowl. I probably have to pay for that little bowl. They also gave me more IV nausea meds. I'm gonna have to pay for those IV nausea meds. All these things, that was one procedure. One. And then they want to run like all of these different tests. They're all going to have each of these little aspects that I'm going to have to pay for. And they're not just like a couple bucks, they're like super overpriced. I don't even know why. Like, who's in charge of these pricing guides? Anyway, it's very expensive. So you don't just go to one doctor and they give you some meds and you're good. Then they're going to refer you to other specialists. You pay for the specialist visit. Then you pay for each individual tests that that specialist wants to run. And let me tell you, there's one payment plan that I am still working on. This happened November of 2021. I went to urgent care because I was so nauseous that I just couldn't function. And it was for like a whole week. I just could not eat anything because I was so nauseous. So I went to urgent care. They sat me in a room by myself for several hours. They came in briefly twice, gave me some IV Zofran to help with the nausea. And that worked for about an hour. And then the nausea came right back. That's what they did. They took my blood pressure and stuff too, of course, temperature, all that. That's all they did. And then they charged me over $3,000. This is after what insurance covered. I am responsible for over $3,000. I'm on a payment plan for it. And I have been faithfully paying every month, right? And I am not even a third of the way through that. That's one payment plan from over a year ago. So with how often chronically ill people have these symptoms, that you want to tell them to go to the emergency room, go to urgent care, find a doctor, go to this specialist. As often as they have these symptoms and you want to tell them to go see a doctor, they got to pay for every single one of those. And you want to tell them, oh, they'll probably give you a payment plan. Cool, but like, how many of those am I going to juggle? Stop telling people not to worry about the money unless you're going to pay for it. It might sound helpful in the moment, like, oh no, your health is more important than money. But I mean, without money, I won't even be able to survive. So who cares about my health at that point? You know? Just basically, you don't know all the details of somebody's life. So stop telling them what to do. Unless you're going to help in some way, which most people don't. Basically, I think the best thing that you can say to somebody who is chronically ill is to ask them what would be helpful. What can I say to best support you right now? What assistance can I offer you? Is there anything that I can do to help you right now? There have been a few instances where somebody did ask me something like that, and I actually didn't know. But I could straight up say, I don't know. Right now, I just need some space. Maybe I just want to cry. Maybe I just need to take a nap. I just need to be left alone. And that could be helpful. Or maybe they just need a hug. Or maybe they just want to vent and you can be there to listen. Or just validate, yeah, that sucks. That sounds really hard. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. You know what I mean? It could be that simple. But I think a lot of people think it's helpful to offer advice or suggestions. And sometimes it comes out in a way that says, I know better than you, and I'm telling you what to do, and that's going to fix your problems because you have no idea what you're doing. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for sticking around for the whole of my ramblings. If you found anything I said helpful, informative, or entertaining, please make it known with a thumb. Whichever direction suits your fancy. Honestly, I will take them and love them all. And remember, chronic illness is tough, so it's a good thing you're tougher. Toodles. Let's do a couple poses. This is a weird configuration you just did.